Hello, JL. JL, so nice to have you back. And it's so great to speak to you, the audience.
Wow. Okay. So that's really good. And first of all, it's JL and audience.
What
You
did I
said
say?
audience and JL.
Well,
That's just bad etiquette. If you're speaking in front of the president and college graduates, you don't go, graduates, people who may not be getting a diploma. Oh, and you, POTUS, welcome.
some might call it bad etiquette. Some might call it a Freudian slip. Who knows?
Well, okay. You know what Freudian slips really are?
Sexual?
Puns.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there you go. That's how you. That's like me holding up a cross and garlic, or in front of a vampire. Okay, well, guys, obviously, up top, just check out jlcomedy.com. No upcoming shows. My December 1st show had to get canceled for things outside of my control, fans buying tickets. So now you have a free Friday. I just gave you, look at that. They didn't even know they were getting a gift.
There you go.
We start out, look at that, a gift for all my fans.
JL or Santa Claus?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, it is December.
Right.
It is December. So look at that. Or Hanukkah.
Yes. Right.
Okay. And, obviously, a lot of anti-Semitism out there.
Yeah. It's a hot topic.
It is. Very unfortunate. And as somebody who is engaged to a Jewish woman, no one would have more reason to feel that than me. And I don't. I don't mean to say I'm a healer or a bridge or someone who could bring peace in this world. But if I am still down, then what's your excuse?
Exactly. I
So,
agree 100%.
But yeah, it's getting creepy. It's getting, and I know social media can be a filter to a lot of things, but it's getting kind of
The anti-Semitism?
creepy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, did you see that footage from the airport in Russia? I think it was
Yeah.
Dagestan. That was wild.
Right. And
that was probably one of the worst things scariest things I've
Right.
seen as a Jewish person.
No, and somebody, when I was walking to the studio today, somebody was filming me ripping down posters of hostages in Gaza. So what about my privacy? Jeez. No, just another example of something that's awful. It's very bad. And I've noticed something. I feel like this is not a funny topic, so I want to move on. But I don't know. It's gotten to a point now. This is the one serious thing I'd say, where the only reason I brought it up is because a little bit of my conscience is like, should I, not that I'm important enough to say anything, but it's getting to the point where I'm like, do I have to affirmatively just say like, anti-Semitism is terrible?
Yeah.
And that's why I brought it up, because it's getting to this point where I'm like,
you want it on record.
in a weird way, because it is getting very uncomfortable, like much creepier, just like a Trump presidency. It's getting to this point where I'm like, are we in the early stages of something? Obviously in Israel and Gaza, there's horrible things literally but I'm saying broadly, are we getting to this much broader point where it's going to be like, oh, I should say something just to be like, this is a safe space or whatever. And it sounds cheesy to say that, but it's the first time where I'm starting to feel like a little uncomfortable, where it's like, there's a lot of bad stuff going on right now. And on college campuses, as David Frum of The Atlantic put it, summarizing what he said, okay, well, these protests are okay. Just make sure you don't wear any offensive Halloween costumes on campus, which I think is a pretty funny but truthful statement.
Yeah.
So to my 4 Jewish listeners, if you could just identify yourself in the comments so I can, highlight you and showcase you to the world to show that I am part of the solution, not a problem. I would appreciate that. That's good, right? I think that's a good way to handle it.
I think throughout history, that's always been the way that we've,
like I'll give you, I think I can give you like an extra badge on social media. So like people know that, no, I am, this is part of my community.
You can also number their importance as a listener.
I mean, I'm going to start charging them more on Patreon.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of which, I have a Patreon, guys. So I'm going to start a new tier that like costs more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only for them.
Just for them.
Yeah.
It's called Only Jews.
Yes.
Okay. It's like Only Fans, but for Jewish people.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm part of the solution, in other words.
You're part of the final solution.
Yeah. Okay. And we've got, I'm going to get, is it the Scorpions?
It's the final.
If they're on Cameo, I'm going to see if they'll do a remake called The Final Solution.
Yeah.
No. See, guys, I felt so uncomfortable. I felt like I had to make jokes.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness,
as a Jew, I am a Jew and I am protecting us. the veil of Judaism is protecting our comedy. It's how our people have survived for eons.
As you make an Italian hand gesture.
I'm Italian and Jewish. What do you want from me? I'm from New York. What do you want?
Fashugana about it.
Yeah, I'm yeah, but horrible stuff. And
horrible.
It sounds like you had plenty of time to read The Atlantic on your cross-country trip.
I actually made my way through a bunch of issues of The New Yorker. I didn't get to this month's Atlantic yet.
Damn.
So good try. Good try to keep it moving, Mike. But I am when it comes to moving a podcast along, they call me the immovable object. But yeah, no shows coming up. But obviously this podcast, we have Making Podcasts Great Again, my YouTube channels and my Patreon. Everything's on my website. So just if you're starved for jail content, then there's something wrong with you because there's plenty of it out there. So I went on a wonderful trip. I don't like flying. I used to fly a lot.
Yeah.
And flying is one of those exposure therapy things to me. Like when I was flying 3 times a month, I really didn't stress it at all.
Right.
And then once you stop flying, like my last flight was in April of 2018. And I was at the Tampa Improv. And funny thing there, the gigs were very not memorable. But I went to a church. I went to Vigil Mass, which is the Saturday Mass that counts as your Sunday Mass. Mm-hmm. And a guy, and I forget the name of the church, but it was near the club in Tampa. The guy who sang, one of the most spiritually moving experiences of my life. He was that good. Just his singing of the hymns was like moving.
Yeah.
And the church actually, it wasn't just me because everybody like clapped when he was like at the end of Mass. So
they recognize talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you coming to the show? Where are you guys going? No? Okay. See you guys. So that's like my only memory from, and then it was my last flight, partly by coincidence, partly by choice, because the pandemic and my lack of gigs on the road also stopped me from having a need to fly. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't fly for fun, certainly. No, right. I just want to take a flight somewhere now.
Yeah.
Like when people tell me like, we flew a private jet, or like my husband has his pilot's license. I go, we call that a death certificate in the flight fear community. So I never get jet. Like like Travolta. I forget which celebrity got a pilot's license to like overcome their fear of flying. Sometimes I'm tempted to do that more than I like to be like, will this work?
Godspeed.
Right. No, I won't, get out of town. But like sometimes I'm just tempted to do that. But my last flight from Tampa, it was a 6 a.m. Southwest flight. And so the real expensive kind. Mm-hmm. And it was dark. It was still dark when we took off. So I'm like, okay. And then it got lighter. And all I could see beneath the plane, as far as the eye could see, black. Mm. Like now it was light out. Black skies.
Oh.
The sky, like in other words, good thing we're above this. But then you start getting that thought like, well, what if the clouds keep rising and we're engulfed in the nothing from the never-ending story?
Right.
And we made it. Back, no turbulence. It was just like, I wish I'd kept the window closed all the time. I would have never known. And then when we land, I'm waiting for my bag and I'm looking at the weather map, like on the TV. And it was just like the entire Southeast was like tornado season or something. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Now they wouldn't take off but you still, logic doesn't matter when you have a fear of flying.
Well, the other thing is, JL, you and so I have a horrible fear of flying as well. I haven't flown since also either 2018
I have a fear of flying.
2017.
I think you sound like a bigger pussy than me.
Yeah, I won't fly.
You're a horrible fear of flying.
Yeah.
I just have like an uncomfortable fear.
No, I won't. I was on a plane that made an emergency landing, and that was the end of that. I won't do it anymore. It's a really bad fear.
The real fear of flying, people, like when you hear a story, it's like you're there. Like when you said emergency landing, my pits got a little sweaty.
Well, when you said black cloud, I was like, oh my God, something must have happened to the plane, and there was smoke from the plane.
No.
I immediately, I tensed up the second you said, like, I looked at the window and I saw black. I was like, no, thank you. I'm not into that.
Right.
But I mean,
that's how a lot of people in America feel. They look out their window and see blacks. They're like, absolutely not. Get my gun. So you have a lot of allies out there, I think.
Not quite what I said, but all right. You and I have a lot of the similar personality traits of it's difficult to give up control. And I think that's a huge factor.
Well, Mike, if I could just get the show back for a second. No, continue.
But I think that so have you ever had sort of like a panic attack on a plane or something like that?
No, it's a very weird thing because, for instance, the most flying I ever did, I was in a long distance relationship during law school. So I flew like once a month to Columbus, Ohio. It was it was an hour flight from BWI, but still, you're still doing it.
Yeah.
I flew to LA, 4 times a year during for several years.
Yeah.
I've never had the scariest flight I was on. And it wasn't even that scary because it was like I was in that mode where I'm flying so much. But it was like we went through a serious thunderstorm and like the amount of lightning, I was like, I don't think we were supposed to fly through this.
Yeah.
But it never got so bad. But now if I was on a flight like that now, having not been on a plane in 5 years, I would be like, ah!
Yeah, right.
And all those people who just pretend like it's cool, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Give me a break.
So I have taken the train to a lot of places, partly because I like it and partly because I'm like, I don't need to fly.
Yeah.
What I did was I had a gig in Pittsburgh, as I had been telling people on previous episodes. Mike and I haven't been in the same studio for 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
I thought you said it's been awesome.
No.
Jeez. All right. So I took the train to Pittsburgh, which was a logical train trip. It's not like it's a little long, but it's like, that's not really, flying saves you like a few hours on that one from start to finish. But then I took the train from Pittsburgh to Chicago, just stayed a night in Chicago to break up the trip because the next trip was Chicago to Seattle, which is a 46-hour trip.
That's the big daddy.
It's called the Empire Builder. I call it the Character Builder.
Is that really what the line is called?
Yes.
The Empire Builder?
Yes.
Wow.
And there's probably some connotation about defeating like people of color.
Native Americans.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Like
westward.
We defeated, we got a bunch of Chinese people to build this railroad over indigenous lands. Double win.
Right.
Let's call it the Empire Builder. We can't call it the Chinaman Destroyer. No, that's a little too much. So I get to Seattle where I was supposed to have a gig.
Yeah.
But I think I may have discussed that earlier. That gig fell through because one of the things you have to be on the lookout when you're J.L. Cauvin is, why does this person want to book me for something? Seems shady. So I got to Seattle after 46 hours, checked into a hotel for a day. Seattle, very hilly, by the way. Did not realize that. Like glute workout, just going for a 1 mile walk.
Yeah.
But Seattle, I got to Seattle and, I didn't take, sorry, I'm going to spill a little a tea. Didn't take a shit from Chicago to Seattle. I don't go to the bathroom on Amtrak.
Why is that? I'm curious.
Because you see, there are way too many people who are very willing to take shits on Amtrak. And when you flip that toilet lid, those stainless steel seats, it's not just skid marks. It's more topographical maps.
It's very disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't want to go unless you can be first in. Now, the people I resent, but also respect are those who are like, the 3:05 train. Yeah, I'm taking a shit at 3:11 p.m. 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh, you're on. How are you taking a shit that quickly into a train? Have you no shame or decency? It should be an emergency measure for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the breakdown of an Amtrak train, by the way, the long distance trains, you have the roomettes in the rooms on both levels, but most of the small rooms are on the top level of a 2-deck train. 1 bathroom on the top deck, 3 bathrooms on the bottom deck. So where do you think people should take their shits?
Say that again.
Most of the rooms are on the top and there's 1 bathroom.
Okay.
To me, that's the I can't hold her, I gotta pee kind of bathroom.
Emergency.
3 bathrooms on the bottom where there are only like 4 rooms.
Oh, yeah.
You go downstairs.
Of course.
Apparently I'm the only one who does that. And that's just to pee. I just try to create a culture of let's go down and use the bottom bathrooms, even though I'm holding it in. And no, I mean, and the skid marks, the topographical maps, it's so offensive.
Topographical maps.
You get brown lung from just inhaling all the stuff.
Disgusting.
But usually I'm not right next to the bathroom, but for one of these trips, I was right next to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And it's like, could you go down? You almost want to knock and go downstairs with this.
Yeah.
And can you monitor your dieting? So then I get to Seattle just for a layover. Yeah. But when you're doing the Amtrak trip, the layover is a day. I took a day. I could have been on the next trip down, but I was like, let me take a day.
You went all the way to Seattle. Might as well see the town.
Well, I wish I had spent another day. That's the problem, because you get there, you're exhausted. You're doing a lot of bathroom work.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like Sunday night and Seattle was dead.
Yeah.
Or Sunday. It was the day. And I was like, football game? No.
Yeah.
Baseball game? They got eliminated from the playoffs like last day of the season.
No basketball team.
No basketball team. And hockey. Oh, they have a hockey team. No, not here.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. You couldn't have given me something on football. Give me, I'll go. I'll spend money in your town. So it was like downtown Seattle was pretty dead. Tents. I saw some tents. I don't know if that's part of their tourism.
I think it's part of their residential situation.
Yeah. So I saw that. And then I went from Seattle to LA, which was very pleasant. And I have all these great conversations with different people. Like this couple, Randy and Sheila from Texas. He looked and sounded like Sam Elliott. So he was fascinating.
That's cool.
We talked for the whole time. He's like, how you doing, Drew? And I was like, does anybody ever tell you look like Sam Elliott? Goes from time to time. And I was like, and when you speak, it only makes it more Sam Elliott, by the way. Like your voice is even closer to Sam Elliott than your face.
Yeah.
But and then I talked to this couple, multiple meals, because they make you share meals with people.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And there's
a dining cart.
There's the dining car, and they go, we sit you with, if you're not a party of 3 or more, you're sitting with strangers.
Interesting.
And it's good. It's genuinely enjoyable most of the time.
Is the food is good or the experience?
The food from Chicago West is excellent.
Really?
And when I say excellent, I mean, you've never had travel food this good, obviously, but it's like mid-level restaurant good.
Sure.
Which is great.
I'm assuming they have a full kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
East of Chicago, it's garbage. It's all microwavable stuff, even if you're on a longer train. But west of Chicago, fantastic meals.
So can I ask, out of my own curiosity, as somebody that might be interested in doing one of these cross-country train trips?
I'd love you to produce my show for the Travel Channel.
It's a different conversation that we'll have off mic. But give me the lowdown on what the would you call it a suite? The room?
Yes.
How is this?
Okay.
Do you have leg room? Do you have a television? What's the deal here?
So what you have to do is, like, there's the poors, we call them, in steerage. They just have regular seats.
Awful.
Yeah. Then there's the roomettes, which are not cheap.
Yeah.
This is like if you were going to say, oh, I want to do a month in LA, so that it's not like something you're doing all the time. It's more expensive than a flight, of course, but but a roomette, and I'm a big guy. I'm the biggest test they'll have for a roomette. Mm-hmm. You would fit fine in the bed. It's 2 chairs, like kind of just a closet area in your room. It's tidy, but it's very economical, and it's comfortable. It's a comfortable place to sit for the day. You go to the observation deck or whatever to see other shit to get your room. And then there's the rooms, which are the most expensive, which are big, but in an odd twist, when you sleep in the room, you're going against the trains. Like in the small rooms, your bed is parallel to the track. So when you rock, which you can, you almost like rocking a baby side to side. So it's easier to sleep. The bigger beds in the bigger rooms, you are rocking like head to toe. So actually, the few times I've been in those,
like a hammock, no, hammock would go back and forth.
Right. In the few times I've been in the big rooms, I actually sleep worse than in the smaller room.
Were you in a big room this time?
No, small room. The whole way.
Can you explain to me what a big room is like? Like, what's that experience?
A bottle of champagne, a hooker, like you can have all that kind of space.
Is it the size of a hotel room? Is it that big?
Oh, no.
No. Okay.
No, it's, I'll show you pictures. Obviously we can't show the audience. I can show you some pictures, but it's like,
we can show the audience.
Well, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Later. Next time.
No, it's not the size of a hotel room. No, like but it's remarkable for a train what you can kind of fit in. And the bigger rooms, you have your own individual bathroom in there.
That rocks.
Yes.
This sounds great.
It's not a feasible way to travel regularly.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you were like, I'm going to go to Chicago for a few days and then catch the train from Chicago to LA, and I'm doing like a month away, perfectly fine.
Right.
You just bake it in as part of a vacation. Like, cause the scenery, so now I take the train down from Seattle to LA, have meals with this lovely young couple from Singapore. Mm-hmm. And I had these meals with, like, you got your Texas, you got your older couple from Texas, your young couple from Singapore doing like a Western United States tour.
Yeah.
Then a British couple who'd never been to New York, but was doing a whole Western States tour, had breakfast with them, wonderful talk. Mm-hmm. And then, so then I went from LA to Vegas for U2, which we can talk about also. Phenomenal concert, phenomenal venue, great band. And I'll concede this. Bono, love him.
But
can understand why someone would find him irritatingly cheesy and pontificating all the time. Because sometimes he'll say things. I resent when he was like, "Who here wants to get elevated?" I was like, "Oh God." And now everybody's just like, "It's Bono, it's U2. I love that song." But I was like, "Can I punch?"
To have an evening of magical rock and roll music, a poetic sight for all
almost
to be seen.
faith, almost like a faith, like a spiritual. And meanwhile, Edge and Adam Clayton come off so cool.
Yeah.
They are, but they, Edge, they both look great for their age.
Yeah,
Bono's actually aging the worst of all of them, but he's also a billionaire and doing like lots of extracurriculars.
Yeah.
Edge is just like on his guitar with his beanie, just looking chill. Adam Clayton, Bono keeps referring to him as the coolest man on the planet in his book.
The coolest man in the planet.
He's like an ice cube. And Laura does a great impression of Bono's stage jump. It's actually very funny because it's just this like kind of Peter Pan, like here's how I would describe Bono. And I think you'll enjoy this as somebody who's not a fan the way I am. Mm-hmm. It's like watching Martin Short do an impression of Mick Jagger.
Okay.
Like 70-year-old Martin Short, like not inner space frenetic, but like elder Martin Short doing a Mick Jagger impression. It's just gingerly moving with forced style. Yeah. Whereas Edge and Adam Clayton just get to be two chill dudes. Like, I'm worth 400 million. Boom, 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 boom.
I got to be honest, as a hardcore music fan, I kind of feel like I've seen a lot of stuff with Edge. Like, do you ever see It Might Get Loud?
You've told me about this where you're like, he's not a genius, but then he's also self-aware. And
that's what I think it is. I think he understands almost that he's one of the luckiest musicians. Like he just, it doesn't seem like he can really play the instrument, but he's just like, he has a knack for creating kind of like shit like that out of a guitar. And then he turns the effects off and it's like, all right, this is what I'm playing. And it's like 2.5 notes.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
He's somewhere between a great guitarist and a great DJ, perhaps.
Yeah, or a great sound engineer or something like that.
No, but I think Bono refers to him as the greatest rhythm guitar player in the world, but he's playing lead. Maybe that's
true, but that's a fair thing to say about him. Yeah.
Okay, so I think look at you agreeing with Bono.
Halfway.
Changing hearts and minds here on Rain on Your Parade. Sphere is amazing. Sphere is amazing.
It looks insane.
Like, if you like anything that ever goes there, go.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a U2 fan and you're listening to me, like, go.
Yeah.
Like, go to, like, it's awesome. It is, that's all I can say. It's awesome. I was a little disappointed, though, because I said to Laura when she met me in Vegas, she was obviously in her plain clothes. And I said, you got heels? Half joking. She's like, no. You know how much walking we're going to do? I was like, great. Thanks. Yeah, well, I think it was Frank Sinatra who said, luck be a lady in flats, right? Come on.
Aren't you embarrassed?
You're coming to the Venetian. Your man got a VIP suite with Sphere tickets and you're wearing flats. Aren't you embarrassed? No, Lady Gaga. By the way, Lady Gaga joined U2 on stage for the concert I went to.
The whole show?
No, 2 songs.
What'd she sing?
They did Shallow. And then
really?
And then they did, I got a beef with Lady Gaga, though. I hope she's listening.
Did Bono and Lady Gaga duet Shallow?
Yes. And
that's kind of cool.
But look at you. Look at this Bono fan I'm sitting next to.
I like Gaga. I'm a Gaga fan.
But like Gaga comes out and Laura, this is like how chiller. She goes, I bet it's Gaga. And then Gaga comes out and she was like, and the whole crowd is like, Lady Gaga, what the fuck? We're seeing U2 and Lady Gaga. And Laura's like, called it.
Yeah.
Like, and she's like happy in her own way.
Yeah.
Because she's a big Gaga fan also.
Sure.
And they did All I Want Is You as a duet by U2. But here's Lady Gaga, if you're listening. Shallow. You know the part we all want to hear. Oh, did they do that? No, that's the one part they skipped. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
It's like the most Gaga thing ever recorded.
Oh, yeah. and no, that's the one part of Shallow we didn't get.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I don't even count that as a Gaga appearance.
Yeah.
Give me some Bad Romance with the Edge doing something on his guitar.
That would be sick. They could probably pull that off too.
Well, they should.
As we said, Edge, that's where he plays, you know?
That's what they should have done. So call me U2 or Gaga for notes. I'm willing to work with you.
Yeah.
But the Sphere is incredible. So that was awesome. Even though Laura was walking around Venetian in flats, which made me look like not a VIP.
Yeah.
I feel like a woman in flats indicates that her man is not a VIP.
Yeah.
Because a woman with a VIP
who
should be uncomfortable enough to wear heels.
Well, listen, babe, we're not going to Red Robin, okay? We're out in Vegas.
This isn't all you can eat fries. This is all you can lose money.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
So, and I'm tall. Don't know if you've noticed. That could also help me a little bit. Now I look like I have a short girl fetish.
Yeah.
So then we drive to Salt Lake City for the Utah Jazz game. They've only won one game this season. As of this recording, I was there for it. 6 rows behind the Jazz bench. Amazing game, amazing seats, having a great time. I'm skipping over my one unfortunate experience in Los Angeles because I did some great shows out there. Three shows, all went well. And then edit. And then Vegas, Utah. And then I had a show in Utah, which was great. Great audience. It went really well in a very skeevy part of town. It was like we were in the nice part of Utah, and then we're like, hey, Broovy Cinema Pub is only 4 blocks from here. Well, boy, oh boy, that was a big 4 blocks. I saw a bum fight, as I said on stage. I was like, I saw 2 unhoused people fighting, but I think once they start committing felonies, you can start calling them bums again. I think that's in progressive law allows it to be called a bum fight once 1 or more are committing felonies. It was next to a sex shop, a literal dumpster fire, and a massage parlor. Which
literal dumpster fire?
Like it wasn't a dump, but there was a burned out car and piles of shit that had clearly been on fire. I took a picture of it. Clearly you didn't see it. Thank you, Twitter, social media.
I don't even have Twitter anymore.
Thanks for everything. I posted it everywhere. Mike didn't see it. Bad producer. Bad. So the show was great though. And it was like, wow, this trip ended on such a trio of high notes. U2, Utah Jazz, and Utah fans.
Yeah.
And it was great because the last time Laura had seen me perform was at a private gig in Margate City. And if I may, I wrote a song about it. I said, take me down to Margate City where the pools are small and the crowds are shitty. That's just very specific to the gig I did. But I felt very ambushed at that gig. But the worst part of it was having Laura there. Seeing me bomb at a private gig. I mean, bomb. And she was that hurt because I can take it, but it was the first time I had to see somebody who cared about me watching me bomb.
Yeah.
And then I that hurt, then projected onto me. And I was like, I feel terrible. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
So go to Utah. Great show. I explained it on my Patreon episode. I broke it down on the Patreon episode, so go check that out. But then I took the train back from Utah at 3:30 in the morning, back to Newark. I arrived yesterday. Best night of sleep I've had in years. Last night.
Train?
No, last night when I got home. The trip, I'm going to make a recommendation here, and then we're going to take our first break because I want to talk, since we talked a little bit about music, I want to talk about Taylor Swift haters when we come back.
Yes, good
But
tease.
I will tell you this. The train trip, if you don't want to do the psycho trips like I do, cross country, I have to recommend something. Salt Lake City to Denver. So you leave at 3:30 a.m. That's unfortunate, but you get to Denver at like 7 p.m. So I told Laura, I said, next time if the Jazz are playing like a home and Denver game, like in a 3-day stretch, let's do that.
Yeah.
Because she's seen the photos and videos I've taken multiple times. The California Zephyr, that Utah to Denver stretch is the most beautiful shit you will ever see in your life. It's so good. And I've seen it in 2 different seasons now. So that's just a little tourism from our new sponsor, Amtrak. We take JL from shitty gig to shitty gig with nice scenery, Amtrak. So when we get back, let's talk about Taylor Swift haters, because I got a lot to say about them. But a message from our sponsor first. And we're back, everybody. Hopefully you've already made those travel arrangements on Amtrak.com, our new sponsor, Amtrak. We're glad JL doesn't shit in our toilets because he's a big guy, Amtrak. But I want to talk about something that's been bothering me for Mike. I'm trying to get serious here.
I know.
This isn't a comedy podcast.
Sorry, JL. Sorry, audience.
Okay. And I want to talk about the Taylor Swift haters out there.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about they run the gamut. This isn't one group. This isn't just bros who like football. I've seen different communities taking it to her. Now, she just recently became a billionaire, which can only mean one thing: no more pulling out for Travis Kelce.
No, okay. I'm with you.
So no, it's just a fact.
Yeah.
Once again, don't know why we're laughing. But she's a billionaire. She's how old? 34?
She's my age, 34.
Beautiful woman, great legs. Great talent.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the fact that her whole career is sort of a grift on conservative white people.
It's an interesting point. You're not wrong about
Trojan
that.
horsed in through country music. And they're like, you're blonde and pretty and white.
Yeah.
And
innocent.
And you build up your fan base that way. You build it up through that route. And then she just was like, you're not even going to know 8 years from now, when I'm just a bona fide pop star, you're still going to be following me. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden she became an ally to different communities and showcasing different communities and telling people to get out there and vote against Trump. Mm-hmm. And before they knew it, they had given a platform to like the worst thing to a conservative in this country, a white who no longer defends conservative hypocrisy.
And not just a white, a snowflake white.
A peak white.
Yeah.
This is a peak white.
Yeah.
That's part of my thing about her is her music is fine. Like the thing is, I don't know her catalog, but she's so big and so good that I could probably just go, oh yeah, I like those 5 songs without even, because she's so big.
Like hear it in a Dwayne
Reed.
Oh,
exactly.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a Romeo and Juliet. I just know a bunch of her songs and they're pleasant.
Yeah.
And she's a huge star. But you see the haters. The first haters are obviously she's ruined. I've heard this from multiple people. She's ruining football. Too much. And I just go, no, she's bigger than football.
She is.
She's bigger than football.
She's not ruining football at all. It doesn't matter. What did they say about her at the football games? That she's there?
I think it's deal. Just right. And it's like, no, what she was ruining, to be fair, was the Grammy Awards.
Right.
Now, I can tip a hat to haters out there. No, the Grammy Awards, you don't have to show Taylor Swift. Like the Grammy Awards, it's all music superstars, and she still gets the most airtime, always dancing to everybody, always cheering. And I'm like, is this real?
Yeah. Because
if it's real, I take back my criticism. If she is that full of that much joy, I'm just not comfortable with joy.
Yeah.
But
no, you're not.
Right. But if she's that joyful, like me and her should have a kid and that kid could be normal.
Yeah. Right.
You know, this is our kid, normal.
Yeah.
He has the right amount of joy and the right amount of pessimism. And he's 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
Because I'm 6'7" and Tay is like 5'10".
I would think she's 6 feet.
Those are legs, man.
Yeah, she's tall.
But okay, so sorry, Travis Kelce, you're a tall guy too. Not as tall as me.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're kind of cheerful too. So your kids are going to be too fucking cheerful. But at the Grammys, they show her way too much. Cause it's like you show all the people at the Grammys, but they still kind of focus on her. And it's like Mumford & Sons. And she's like with her, like her like squad of gay guys. And then it's like, Yo-Yo Ma. And she's like, Yo-Yo Ma, by the way, this will sound like an Imus joke, but really, how is that guy not a rapper from like 1993?
Yeah.
It would be like if you said, and the great flautist, Lil Baby Pop. Wait, what? That guy's not a rapper? Lil Baby Pop is a flute player? And not just a flute player, the best in the world. Lil Baby Pop.
Right. A generation defining classical flautist.
Right. Yo-Yo Ma. That is a 1990s rapper. Lil Baby Pop.
Yeah.
Clarinet also. Also, you know, if you ever heard that album, Lil Baby Pop's first album, he played both.
Very musical.
Lil Baby Pop, everybody. So I can concede, but ruining football, it's like she's a bigger star than anybody in football.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're cutting from game action to show her.
Right.
It's just, I think it's the idea. Football is a sport that caters to conservative minded everybody, but also it's the safest sport for conservative minded people, I think. And when they show, it's more like, oh, this isn't just a game for me and my friends to eat wings and call women slurs. Now you're just showing me this pretty woman enjoying it also, but not in a way that I think is cool.
Dude, JL, it's also such an allegory for the societal hierarchy. Because when you're in high school, what is the relationship that people care the most about? One of, if not the
debate champ
best.
and mathlete. Oh, wait, are you saying high school quarterback and top cheerleader?
Yes.
Okay.
The most popular girl, and like Kelsey's not the most popular guy.
We call him Caveman Channing Tatum here.
It fits.
Thank you.
He does. He has a caveman thing.
Let me tell you
going, but
something.
women like it.
Multiple. I almost want to contact an ex of mine.
Yeah.
Just to verify this fact. Her favorite guy was Channing Tatum. I mean,
Yeah.
her favorite guy for a couple of years was me, but Channing Tatum was her guy.
Well,
There's no doubt that she has a fucking Travis Kelce. Like Travis Kelce is like, if you like Channing Tatum, but wish he were bigger and had somehow more swagger without feeling like he's ripping off black people like Matt Rife, then we got it in. We got it in. Right. Then Travis Kelce's your guy. And when he hosted SNL, I did what I always do. Rolled my eyes and then enjoyed him and said, God damn it, he's good.
yeah, right.
I didn't sit there continuing to go, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, he's got charisma. He's got real charisma.
But this is the thing, dude. So I think that there's two things happening here. I do think there's part of it, just general sort of ill will towards women like this country has had for eons. I think that there's a lot of men who just want to see their football and they don't really want to give it up to the idea that she is bigger than the NFL, which I agree with you. Right. She is. She's one of the most famous people maybe in the last like 100 years.
Right.
It's hard to argue that. The other thing is, I do think there's something to this idea that like it is a reinforcement. This is like the jealousy of watching the two most famous people in your high school. It is like on steroids in a way that like it made you feel bad when you were in high school because you're not the football star and you're not dating the hot like celebrity chick with a ton of money with like, you know, quote unquote, like rich parents, the sort of same situation. And now you take off, you have your Sunday off from driving the bus all week. And you come in and you see
shots fired, bus drivers.
I'm not trying to single out anybody, but
that's a felony. Assaulting a bus driver on a podcast will get you 7 years. Read the sign.
But when you live a normal life and you have a normal family and everything about your life is sort of like what's the word? Superior, excellent, awesome. When you live a more normal life, it is kind of like rubbing salt in the wound that like this good-looking rich guy is now glory on Sundays, catching touchdown passes. And
glory unto the Lord on Sunday, by the way. That's how mass before pass. That's my Sunday schedule.
Right. So I think they're also mad that he's leaving with the most famous woman in the world who's also super hot and a billionaire. You know? I think it's both of those things happening, in my opinion. And
the truth is, if he were dating Megan Fox, as an example, who's still slumming it with Machine Gun Kelly, or did they break up?
It's hard to keep up. I think they might be done, but
I hope so.
Yeah.
If it was Megan Kelly, did I say no? Yeah. Megan Kelly would be their relationship name.
Yeah.
Megan Fox is more of a muse, where like they'd show her once in a while. But it's like, Taylor Swift is bigger.
Yeah.
So it's like, guys, by the way, Taylor Swift is here. Have we shut?
Literal cultural icon.
Right.
Yeah.
And, there's only a few people I can think of in under 40, or Beyonce's over 40. There's Beyonce.
Yeah.
There's Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Why did I forget her name there? little elder moment.
The most famous person in the world. But what's rhyme?
Taylor Tomlinson, I think we're talking about. Taylor Swift, Beyonce. I mean, Bad Bunny is, despite a mediocre to bad SNL, is approaching that levels through sheer cross-cultural and record sales. Like he's like.
And we also, as people in America, I think, forget the Latin markets are just enormous.
Right. And just for him to have crossed over the way he has while, not having a full command of this. And, and he's not Antonio Banderas in terms of the looks, where you can get away with like, I still talk like this. And people are like, yes, so sexy.
Yeah.
he's there, but there's very few. There's very few. And in an age of social media and everybody having their moment, I think it's harder to become iconic in the old way. Tom Cruise would be somebody who's like one of the last mega icons of movies. Mm-hmm. And so it's even more a testament to your power if you become an old school icon, a Madonna, a Michael Jackson-ish figure in this day and age. You've had to go through so much more to reach the top and stay at that rarefied air. So that's one complaint is she's ruining football. She's not ruining football
at all.
You maybe don't want to think about it, but she's bigger than football. Yeah. Or equal, or she's an equal standing as the NFL in this country. The other thing I've noticed though, and obviously if you couldn't tell, it's mostly, you get an indifference from black fans, but it's a lot of white male fans who I hear she's ruining football.
That's a good point too. But I didn't think about that.
But here's the rate. Now I'm going to flip it. The black and white cookie of comedy is going to flip it to the other side.
Right.
See a lot of memes, of Taylor Swift platforming Ice Spice, who I do like. She's like a cute porn star looking chick. Like kind of like, aren't you cute? Even though you seem like a filthy woman. But there's a picture of them on stage together, and Ice Spice with her generous backside. And then Taylor Swift kind of very beanstalky relative to her.
Right.
And a lot of mockery of Taylor Swift from a lot of black people I'm either follow me or I see on social media, sharing that meme. And I go, yeah, I guess it's funny. But at the same time, it's like no one stays in their lane more than Taylor Swift, which is often a complaint. Like, why don't you Iggy Azalea with your fake butt dating Nick Young on the Lakers, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of like, stay in your lane. Well, she is staying in her lane doing 55.
Yeah.
She is pretty. Good point. She's classic white lady good looking. Yeah. In terms of if you want to say like, she's not too curvaceous, but she's super pretty and
she's
blonde
very non-threatening good looking.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's not getting tit implants or butt implants or dating, doing a Kardashian thing, like trying to culture vulture whoever the hot, she's not with James Harden or LeBron or like whoever you might think is offensive in for her to like pluck. Yeah. She's not, and even better, she's not just dating a white guy. She's dating a wigger. So she's actually taking someone who does kind of toe an Eminem Channing Tatum vibe from time to time. She's taking him into the full fold of whiteness.
Yeah.
She's actually taking him back from the battle line into a more
from the battle line
into the cultural battle line, into the full embrace of wonder bread whiteness.
Yeah.
So why pick on because if you pick on her, then a lot of white girls growing up instead will see these memes and go, well, I guess if I don't want to get made fun of by black Twitter, first thing I have to do is get some butt cheeks and date a promising young rapper or any black guy. Yeah. I'm going to steal a good black man because I don't want to be memed. Mm-hmm. So what we should be saying on all sides is on one side, congratulations, Taylor Swift. You are as big an institution as the NFL. That's impressive. We celebrate you. You're not running on the field. The Chiefs are winning. Travis Kelce's still playing well.
Well, also, dude, she's just showing up to the games.
Right.
She literally is not talking about any of this situation. Right. Like all of the speculation that is happening around the two of them is happening from other people. Like apparently she bought a house in Kansas City, which by the way, she's a billionaire. Like you wish you could just buy a house in Kansas City because you have a boyfriend there.
She calls that the Hampton Inn.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, I'll buy this for a couple years, flip it when I'm not dating him anymore or whatever. Like, come on, it's good for her. This is America. This is what you're supposed to be able to do. It's not like she is taking over the NFL and being like it'd be one thing if she was like, I've partnered with the NFL and now I'm just like, it's going to be Taylor Swift all the time. She's so famous and she's going to the games and she's enjoying herself. And I do think you're right. People give her shit because she seems legitimately happy. And for a long time, I've thought
you got to understand, I would love to do that. That's my thing. What are you so happy about?
At a certain point, it can't be an act forever. She's got to be able to like it's got to be authentic. I think I have no reason to believe that she's not. Why wouldn't she be really happy?
Right.
She's got $1 billion. She does exactly what she wants to do. She's super famous. And by all accounts, I mean, it just seems like she has all of the things that we as Americans aspire to have. And if you truly believe that getting those
a
things,
vagina,
it's all a ruse. But in this country, like the way that we kind of talk about wealth and fame and all of those things, if you truly don't like believe that those things make people happy, it's more of a projection than the fact that like we want to believe that's like peak happiness, right?
Yeah.
What else could she ask for? So why would it be an act if you actually believe that these things make a difference and make you happy in your life?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So I'm so tired of the hate coming down on her, and not even from a cultural standpoint, not as I'm a Taylor Swift fan and I think this is terrible. It's just kind of like, it's the same way in a weird way when I stopped hating Tom Brady.
Yeah.
When he won the 6th Super Bowl, let alone 7th, when he won his 6th, I give up. He's the best.
Yeah. I can't argue.
I'm now going to defend him like I'm his defense lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the Patriots or anything, but like it is undeniable.
Too much
The
evidence.
best. That's it. Let's move on. I can't take you seriously if we have to have a discussion right now. Yeah, if Patrick Mahomes continues having seasons like last year for the next 12 seasons, absolutely in the conversation.
Yep.
But right now, there is no conversation to be had.
You're 5 behind, Pat.
Right. And I joked with a friend of mine who's a huge Mahomes fan. I said, hey, you know who has the most Super Bowl titles since 2016? Pat Mahomes is tied with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like Tom Brady won 2 Super Bowls like after the age of 40.
Right.
I mean, it's okay to like let go and just be like, you win.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's how I feel about comedy. I'm just like, I get it. You win. I'm going to stop fighting you. It's over. I need a day job. And no, but with Taylor Swift, and then the flip side of that, and it's 2 very different camps, but because of the people that I interact with on social media, you see the memes mocking her. And I go, this is a white woman doing what every Twitter activist would want her to do. Vocal ally, taking absolutely nothing from your culture, style, or community, and being a vocal ally. What more could you want from a white lady?
Yeah, you're right.
And like I said, taking Travis Kelce off them, like that's an unsung hero move.
Yeah.
Like this is a guy who we could see in future years going over the line.
Yeah.
Whether it's caught rapping the N-word, like on video, like in a song.
Yeah.
He's that I'm not saying he's not going to go full Morgan Wallen.
Yeah.
But he could be that guy who's like, did y'all see Travis Kelce in that TikTok?
Yeah.
She's pulling him back from there.
TikTok of him wearing a do-rag, drinking a 40. What is he doing?
Right.
He's partying.
So to the Taylor Swift haters out there, I say, just stop. Just let go. Just like Tom, I'll make an analogy you can understand. Like when Tom Brady won that 7th Super Bowl, you were an idiot if you just kept going like, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's over. It's done. Move on. You'll be happier.
The only but is, but I just still don't like him. He's the greatest.
Right.
But I just don't like him. There's no other thing that you can no other accent you can put on it.
Yeah. So Taylor Swift, I don't know if you're the greatest, but it seems like you're the greatest right now.
Yeah.
It's your time. And, to quote Hansel from Zoolander, I don't listen to your music, but you're making it and I respect that. So, and I didn't do my Scott Pelley.
Save it for the...
Okay.
You should do the punch down as Scott Pelley.
Oh, very good idea. Okay. So guys, if you've seen my one video where I did Scott Pelley interviewing Trump a few years ago, you know I have a good Scott Pelley impression. What a tease. Well, Scott Pelley is going to join us for the comedy section, Mike's favorite, right after this.
And now, from the Slickback Studios newsroom in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, here is Scott Pelley with a Rain on Your Parade special report.
This is Scott Pelley on assignment for Rain on Your Parade. This week's punchdown of the week. JL wrote, and I quote, I think they should show Travis Kelce every 5 minutes during the Taylor Swift movie. And a person who we will not identify commented, he's not a big enough star. JL, do you have anything to say on this? Yes, I do. You like that, Mike?
I did. I really thought that was done well. I really did. I thought that was done well.
My Scott Pelley is a very underused, underrated bit, like thing.
I think that was great.
Oh, thank you.
I really think that was great. That should be a normal addition to the show.
Scott Pelley is joining the Rain on Your Parade cast. That's a coup for the show, I think, and for Slickback Studios. It's a huge coup.
Great. Yeah.
Wow, you're really like proud of this one.
I like when we get creative.
But I saw like a look, like a reflective look, like Rudy had just gotten a sack at the end of Rudy.
Because listen, man, it's all about pushing the boundaries. We gotta do different stuff. I like it.
And nothing's going to appeal more to the young people than Scott Pelley content.
Yeah.
So, but I think that was, just to comment on what Scott said, it doesn't need to be said more. Like the joke was just a comment, as a tip of the hat to all the people complaining about Taylor Swift. I thought that was a funny little commentary. Like, hey, she should be on. What if they just showed him during her movie every 5 minutes? And somebody said, not a big enough star. And I don't know if that person didn't get the joke or thought they were doing something funny but they weren't. So punch down of the week in theme with our Taylor Swift discussion. Now, for the comedy review of the week, there's a bunch of specials that are out, but I was away for 3 weeks, so I'm behind on my comedy special watching. But I made it a priority to watch Old Dads, even though the reviews were not good for Old Dads. I remember seeing the preview for it at Bill Burr's show at Prudential, right before Andrew Dice Clay came out and started talking about, I'm an old guy, and this chick is fucking me like a porn star. Oh! It's like, it would be like not like watching Willie Mays fall in center field for the Mets. It would be like watching Millie Mays fall in center field with his pants around his ankles. That's the level of Devil Rays. That's the level of embarrassment I felt. But there were enough douchebags in Jersey to go like, Dice is being misogynistic. Yeah. So anyway, I saw the preview for that and I laughed. I was obviously in a Bill Burr mood, but I thought the preview actually looked funny to me. And so I watched it. Despite the bad reviews, I was going to judge for myself. I'm not going to say it's free of laughs. There are a couple laughs. And I just noticed my Crumbs cookie jar is over there for next show. Let's get that back in the JL. But okay, geez. Well, you'll remember if I say it on air because it'll sting you more.
We'll see.
Okay, probably not. But anyway, Old Dads. It's on Netflix, and I watched it. It was the first thing I watched when I got home from my long trip. And it felt beneath Bill Burr. Like, in other words, the best moments to me of Bill Burr's performance were like when he was being serious, like when they were like slightly more dramatic turning points in the plot. But it felt so much like a movie. And maybe this is what happens to a lot of comics. You get frozen in your time eventually. Eventually, if you become successful enough or not, but you eventually become part of whatever your peak era was. And like, you don't move past that. And Bill Burr has not been one of these bros righteously bitching about cancel culture all the time. But this movie feels like it was written, like, no disrespect to a man I've seen multiple times in the past, but it felt more like a movie that was written by like Nick DiPaolo. Like, in other words, it goes overboard in the caricature. Like every time a progressive person speaks, some of them are funny and some of them are like, oh, I guess you had to get that off your checklist. Like did we have somebody complain about non-binary yet? But it feels forced in points. And it really does come off more like a diatribe against every possible complaint one could have about the left than a real movie satirizing or parodying the left or the clash of cultures and generations. It was very heavy-handed. I laughed at some parts. I'm not going to say I didn't sit there stone-faced, but it was just, I really, this is, I think, what happens. And I think Burr wrote it, but it feels like here's why stand-up can be hard for people who are funny to do. And here's why then just because you're a funny stand-up doesn't mean the script you write is going to be a perfect script and translate exactly the same way. So as a huge Bill Burr fan, and I'm only saying it this way, this would obviously, if I knew Bill Burr, he'd be like, oh, thanks for being a fan, you fucking asshole. Because that's what I would say. That is what I say, actually, when I get shitty compliments or critiques that I'm not asking for, but because it's a segment of the show. Mm-hmm. And I think people expect once in a while some actual fucking honesty from me, not just who can I say great things about that maybe I'll work with tomorrow. That's not what this show is about. So I don't know that it should be 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it should be like 40.
Yeah.
Like it's just, but it's
40 still an F.
Yeah. The performance that I kind of liked the most, although like I said, Burr, when he's being like serious in parts, I think he actually is like a good actor. Mm-hmm. But Bokeem Woodbine is like the most comfortable I felt like in the movie. And it's so clear, like, did you ask Chappelle? I'm just like, did you ask Chappelle to be in the movie?
Why does the character slander trans people for 2 hours?
It murders a trans person. That's the funniest part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
No. But I'm saying, like, obviously the resemblance of Bokeem, but Bokeem Woodbine is like, even though Bobby Cannavale's been in a lot of movies,
I like him a lot.
I do too. But in this one, he's like he's the old guy trying to be cool. And I don't think he carries that off as well. Like, he could be the old guy who's pissed about getting old, but like the phrases and like, hey, I'm trying to be cool at the office. To me, he's the guy. He gives off the energy of the guy who would hate that guy.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I'm not convinced.
Because he's actually cool.
Right. I'm not convinced by the sort of like, hey, what's up? What's popping? That album was fire. I don't buy it from him. Yeah. Whereas Bokeem Woodbine is the most comfortable in his skin in the whole movie, I thought. Like just, it was the most kind of convincing, but it's also the least big laugh attempt performance in the movie. But judge for yourself. But Old Dads, I actually, unlike several people in my feed, I had higher hopes for it. I thought the preview did look funny that I saw. And it's just, it just comes off like a bitch session of everything the left and like young people do, which there's plenty to make fun of. But it felt too heavy-handed. Like, these are the people who would laugh at this, are the people who will go see 5 straight Italian comics in Jersey week after week. Like, it's Mike Spaghetti, followed by Anthony Tomato Sauce, followed by Richie Rich, followed by Vinny DiVincenzo. It's Meatball March at Governor's Bada Bing. Right? Like people who can keep going to those shows nonstop and see the same kind of comedy it's my mom makes you have a Sunday dinner. My mom makes Sunday dinner and it's embarrassing when you bring the date over. It's like, Ma, don't do that, Mama. Why are you doing that to me? And then they'll slip in but these kids with the participation trophies and everything I don't like is slightly gay. And if I don't like something, I don't get mad about it. I kind of make gay hands and be like, oh, you want a participation trophy in your ass? Do you want it in your asshole because you're gay, you funook? And then all of a sudden, you know what? This guy comes in, he says, you can't say that anymore. It's offensive. And I said, you know what's offensive? You being in here with that gay attitude. That's what's offensive. Am I right? So I say to my ma, Ma, look at that. He says, you can't say that no more. You can't say that. If you say that, Tommy Jr. might get kicked out of the school. No, it's now called transgender. And my mom goes, well, I hit the transgender with my fork and spoon if he come over with that dress, okay? And I'm like, Ma, you can't say that. Ma, you gotta be nice to these people now. It's a good school. What happened? We sent you to a good school. Ma, you sent me to a shitty school. Are you doing
the full like guest spot 5 minutes here?
Yes. So anyway, you guys get the point.
I was like, when is this? When should I give him the light?
This is why Mike can't do music producing, because I'd be doing like the jam session of the year and he'd be like, I stopped recording 9 minutes ago.
I do hate jam bands.
Well, I did see Fish, I will tell you, at the Sphere, they're a natural fit.
That's what I've heard.
Huge fan base. They do a lot of light show stuff.
Drugs, lots of drugs.
It would, the one question I'd be like, the Venetian is like, but do the dirty hippies gamble? Or are they going to sit outside, not even stay in the hotel, in our beautiful hotel? They're going to be outside camping like a bunch of fanooks. Anyway, that's been JL destroying the Italian community segment of the show. Mike was laughing, so I'm sorry I kept going. I gave the people what they wanted. Mike doesn't want it. He's got a more important show coming in here now. So, guys, thank you for listening. I hope you had fun. I hope you made it till the end, because that was a lot of bonus content at the end. So can I tell you this one thing before we end? No, it's just one. I have been so tempted to do like a Soul Man version to my own career, but instead disappear for a year. Now that I'm fully functional, get back in shape, grow the hair out, slick it back, and just come back as Gianluigi Cauvin. I'm not even kidding, and see if it works. You know, if I got the guns, I'm out in like a Dane Cook wife beater, and I'm like, so my ma, she says.
Well, you got to start off. You don't call them wife beaters, you call them guinea straps.
And you're the creative consultant on this. So you're the Tom Hagen. This is my brother, Tom Hagen. We treat him just like a member of the family. That's why we call him by his birth name, not by our family name, Tom Hagen. Mikey, it's so good to see you. Great to see you, my brother, Tom Hagen. Okay, this is Tom Hagen. We're not related, but we treat him like a brother with a different name, Tom Hagen. I don't call anybody else by the last name, but I say Tom Hagen. Here's one last bit for you.
Yeah.
One last bit.
Okay.
We're going to call this
promise?
We're going to call this the tiramisu section of the show. Because it makes Mike cry tears. Mo Green. This is a bit I've been trying on stage, but I think you'll appreciate this. In the book, The Godfather, now we all know Mo Green, he was banging cocktail waitresses two at a time when he's talking about Fredo. Now, we're all like, well, Fredo, like, you can't do that to Fredo. You can't touch a Corleone for having threesomes with cocktail waiters. They run the casino. What are you doing? In the book, have you ever read the book? In the book, I forget the number, but Fredo had either 12 or 15 abortions with cocktail waitresses.
No shit.
Right. Mo Green, pro-life advocate? If they had spun that differently in the movie where Mo Green, instead of saying two guys, you straighten my brother out? Mikey, he put 15 waitresses out of commission with 1940s abortions. We can't staff the floor, Mikey. It's a holocaust of Italian fetuses.
So wait, pro-choice, not pro-life. Oh no, pro-life.
Pro-life.
Yeah, you're right.
And Mikey, being the good Italian Catholic that he is like, Fredo, you had how many abortions? And all of a sudden, Mo Green's living. Because that's a lot different than like he's having a lot of chicks. Yeah. When they say in the book, Fredo is responsible for at least 12 or 15. I was like, that's a lot. I feel like Mo is on good standing there to be like, we didn't have enough waitresses for the floor, Mike.
Yeah.
They're all in the ICU.
Yeah.
So Mo Green, I want to end on that. Mo Green, pro-life casino magnate. R.I.P. Rest in power, Mo. So that's been Rain on Your Parade for this week. That picked up at the end. I think this was a great episode, Mike. What do you think?
A lot of fun.
Okay, good. Now I have to go. So thank you for listening. Please, if you are listening or watching, whichever you're doing, either on the YouTube or a podcast platform, head over to Apple or Spotify and give us a review. Even if you're a viewer of the show, the reviews help over there, and we'd love to hear from you. And I thank you. So I will see you next Thursday.